Welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Khusro Moin from Kirodimal College, University of Delhi. Today I am going to discuss the module Jawaharlal Nehru National Urban Renewal Mission and Atal Mission for Rejuvenation and Urban Transformation, which comes under the paper Urban Geography. Let's discuss what could be your learning outcomes from this module. While going through this module, you will be able to know and understand the background, objectives, scope and implementation of Jawaharlal Nehru National Urban Renewal Mission and Atal Mission for Rejuvenation and Urban Transformation. They were launched in the year 2005 and 2015 respectively. Now let's start with Jawaharlal Nehru Urban Renewal Mission. JNNURM as it is called. This is a colossal city modernization plan launched by the Government of India under Ministry of Urban Development. It was officially launched in the year 2005 with an aim to brace the infrastructure, improve the quality of service and enhance the aesthetic features of cities. It envisaged an investment of over 1 lakh crore to address the deficiencies in the urban infrastructure and service delivery. The aim of the mission, as per the mission statement, was to encourage reforms and fast-track planned development of identified cities, focusing on the urban efficiency in urban infrastructure and service delivery mechanisms, community participations and accountability of ULBs, parastatal agencies towards citizens. Now, background of the mission. As per the 2001 census, approximately 286 million people lived in urban areas, which, due to the introduction of new economic policy of liberalization and globalization, is expected to expand its share to about 40% of the total population of the country by the year 2021. It was also estimated that by the year 2011, the contribution of urban areas to the country's gross domestic product would rise to about 65%. However, such a productivity depends upon the availability of infrastructure services, infrastructure such as power, roads, water supply and mass transportation, along with civic infrastructure such as sanitation and solid waste management, form the backbone of urban economic activities. Development of infrastructure across the country is indispensable for the economic development and growth. Such realization on the part of the government has forced it to deliberate and revise new strategy to rejuvenate the urban infrastructure and improve the mechanism of urban governance. JNNURM is a major initiative of the government in this direction. JNNURM is a unique project that specifically gives primacy to the development of the Indian cities. It is a result of the concern of the government caused by the burgeoning urban population of the country, degrading civic amenities in the cities, and the need to boost economic activities in the urban places. Therefore, to meet the new challenges that emerged in the urban space, the government came up with the first of its kind investment program in the history of India that contains framework for urban sector reforms, means of strengthening of urban bodies, fast-track development of cities and upgradation of infrastructure. The mission is different from the earlier programs as it focuses on inclusive development alongside the necessary reforms and represent the collective effort of all the stakeholders in the urban sector. Now, objectives of the mission. Following are the objectives of the mission: integrated development of infrastructure services in the cities, establishment of linkages between asset creation and asset management through a number of reforms to ensure long-term project sustainability, to provide adequate funds to meet the deficiencies in urban infrastructural services, planned development of selected cities including peri-urban areas, outgrowths and urban corridors to promote dispersed urbanization, to widen and maximize the delivery of civic amenities and provisions of utilities with emphasis on universal access to the urban poor. Decongestion of the old city areas will get special focus in the program. Extension of basic services to the urban poor including improved housing, water supply and sanitation, and ensuring delivery of other existing universal services of the government. Now let's see the scope of this JNNURM. JNNURM incorporates two submissions into its program. First, Submission for Urban Infrastructure and Governance. This was to be administered by the Ministry of Urban Development. The submission focused on water supply, sanitation, sewerage, solid waste management, road network, urban transport and redevelopment of old city areas. It also focused on relocation of industrial and commercial establishments to conforming areas. Second, submission for basic services to the urban poor. This was to be administered by the Ministry of Urban Employment and Poverty Alleviation with a focus on integrated development of slums through various projects for providing shelter, basic services and civic amenities to the urban poor. Now, finance and implementation. To realize the goal and succeed in the endeavor of transforming the urban space into an engine of economic development, it is imperative that there should be a firm strategy in place to carry out the mission in a systematic manner. Therefore, the implementation process passes through several stages as given below. Now, stage 1, preparation of City Development Plan (CDP) is the first step in the implementation. It indicates the policies, programs, strategies and financing plans. Stage 2, identification of projects. The CDP would help in the identification of the projects. Stage 3, preparation of detailed project reports. The DPR would be prepared by the urban local bodies, which is called ULBs, parastatal agencies, for undertaking projects in the identified spheres. The project be planned in such a manner that optimizes the life cycle cost of projects. Stage 4, release of funds. There should not be any glitch in the flow of funds towards this objective. Therefore, funds from the central and state government were channelized directly to the nodal agency designated by the state as grants in aid. These designated state level nodal agency disbursed the funds to the ULBs, parastatal agencies for identified projects across cities. The mission also supports public-private partnership to tap private sector efficiencies in development, management, implementation and financing of projects. The following table gives the financing pattern of the project. Now, duration of the mission. The initial duration of the mission was 7 years beginning from the year 2005. An evaluation of the experience of implementation of the mission was to be undertaken before the end of the 11th 5-year plan in 2012. The mission was further extended for 2 more years, that is till March 2014. Eligible cities under the JNNURM. Now, the JNNURM gave assistance to the eligible cities, urban agglomerations across states in the country. The cities, urban agglomerations were selected based on the following criteria. A. Cities, urban agglomerations with 4 million plus population as per 2001 census. B. Cities, urban agglomerations with 1 million plus but less than 4 million population as per 2001 census. And C. Selected cities and urban agglomerations, state capitals and other cities, urban agglomerations of religious, historic and tourist importance. The cities should have elected bodies in position. There were 63 cities in the beginning which grew in number over time. Agenda of reforms. JNNURM endeavors to ensure improvement in urban governance and service delivery, thus making ULBs become financially strong and sustainable for undertaking new programs. A number of mandatory and optional reforms were set up to be followed at state and ULB's parastatal agencies level. All the reforms were required to be completed within the mission period. Now, mandatory reforms at state level. Taking decentralization measures on the lines of 74th Constitutional Amendment Act, the state should encourage association and engagement of ULBs in planning the function of parastatal agencies. Repeal of Urban Land Ceiling and Regulation Act, reform of rent control laws ensuring the interest of both landlords and tenants, reduction in stamp duty to not more than 5% within next 7 years, enactment of the public disclosures law that would help preparation of medium-term fiscal plan of ULBs and parastatal agencies, and release of quarterly performance information to all stakeholders. Enactment of community participation, law to encourage and institutionalize citizens' participation, concept of area sabha be introduced in urban areas, associating elected ULBs with city planning functions, transfer of all special agencies that deliver civic services in urban areas to ULBs and also creating accountability platforms for all civic service providers in transition. Now, mandatory reform at the level of ULBs and parastatal agencies. Shifting to the modern accrual-based double entry system of accounting in ULBs and parastatal agencies. To introduce the new system of e-governance using IT applications, GIS and MIS for services provided by ULBs and parastatal agencies. Reform of property tax with the help of GIS. Since property tax is a major source of revenue for ULBs, it is important to support its effective implementation to ensure collection efficiency reaches the target of 85% within next 7 years. Levy of reasonable user charges by ULBs and parastatal agencies so that the full cost of O&M is collected within the next 7 years. Cities and towns in the northeast and other special category states are given a little relaxation as they may recover only 50% of O&M charges initially. However, these cities may graduate to full O&M cost recovery in a phased manner. There should be internal earmarking of fund for basic services to the urban poor. Provision of basic services to the urban poor. This should include security of tenure at affordable prices, improved housing, water supply and sanitation. Also, delivery of existing universal services for education, health and social security be ensured. Mid-term appraisal of the mission. A mid-term appraisal was carried out by the consulting firm Grant Thornton, which was chosen as an appraisal agency for Jawaharlal Nehru National Urban Renewal Mission. The basic purpose of the study was to assess the degree and extent of the implementation of the mission and also to identify the constraints and suggest viable measures to make the program a success. The key findings and recommendation of the final report of the agency has been summarized below. Now, the findings. JNNURM emerged as a key tool in rejuvenating the urban space in the country after independence. JNNURM has the distinction of being the first national flagship program of its kind and size for the urban sector. This program is slowly bringing about a change in the urban governance setup and mindset of the states and ULBs. It has successfully created an awareness, raised expectation among the people for improved quality of life and a sustainable environment in the urban areas. The amount invested in UIDSSMT cities over a period of 7 years is not sufficient to bring about any appreciable changes in the infrastructure to make them attractive destinations for industry and trade. Fundings of the mission cities was on the basis of population based on 2001 census. Because of this, the smaller states with smaller towns were at a disadvantage over the cities having higher population. Consultations with the stakeholders on the content of the draft CDP was missing in majority of the cities, which meant that the stakeholders were constrained to accept the plan without consultation. Unavailability of CDP report in vernacular language had its own limitation, as even those who could access the report could not properly comprehend the proposals and hence were unable to provide any meaningful input on the draft CDP. A majority of the DPRs were not backed by the initial environmental studies. Most other projects were sanctioned in the year 2007 because the preparatory work like primers, toolkits, etc. were not prepared in time, which consequently delayed the preparation of DPR. There was coordination problems caused by having a large number of advisors and consultants. Though all the states prepared the CDP and the DPR on the basis of which funds were released by the Government of India, only few cities have initiated revision of CDP. Some states did not even set up the project management unit or project implementation unit. Most of the states were unable to implement all the 23 reforms, 13 mandatory reforms at the state and ULB's level and 10 optional reforms. As no fund is earmarked for implementation of the 23 reforms, many ULBs were facing acute shortage of funds in the implementation of several reforms. For example, the accounting reforms and GIS-based property taxation. Most of the ULBs lack the requisite skills to carry out project preparation, and therefore the states have engaged consultants for the said purpose. The convergence for submissions and their sub-schemes requires improvement. There is absence of provision for constitution of city-level sanctioning and monitoring committee in JNNURM guidelines. Therefore, all the executing agencies are required to interact with the SLNA and the PMU on all matters involving the implementation of the project. Now, there are certain recommendations. A single mission directorate for both the ministries is suggested. JNNURM should be made an incentivized program. The mission should focus on the projects in terms of its identified key priority sectors like that of water supply, sewerage, solid waste management, drainage, roads and housing. There is a need for direct participation of the ULB staff in the entire process from CDP, DPR preparation to project execution. Approval process of projects should be divided into two stages. First, the in-principle approval stage, and second, the final approval stage in place of the current process of final approval of proposed projects in one go. Data centers for the state should be created with immediate effect. There is also an urgent need for a map to be drawn of all the utility construction, both now and old, in the city. Funds should only be allocated to realistic compiled maps. State government should ensure the survey of the urban poor is done every 10 years and funds be earmarked on the basis of population of urban poor and not on the basis of fixed percentage for every city across the country. The lower level officials should be a part of capacity building program as they are responsible to implement them. Monitoring mechanism at the local level should be strengthened. Physical progress for projects should be kept separate from reform once commenced. In case of non-compliance of reforms within the stipulated time, only the last installment, that is 25%, should be withheld. This would ensure that the physical progress of the work in progress is not stalled. Property tax structure needs to be based on either area-based method or capital valued-based method and be shifted from rental value method. Smaller and medium towns require substantial increase in funding in infrastructure to make them attractive destination for investments. Now we conclude. With all its constraints and limitations, the mission is a bold step towards rejuvenation of urban infrastructure, enhancement of financial sustainability of urban local bodies, introduction of sweeping reform in the urban governance, and above all, involvement of citizens in the urban planning process. All the objectives might not have been 100% success, but it has set the tone for subsequent missions of the future in the urban sector. It has definitely brought about a change in the mindset of the states and the ULBs. Now, let's see the Atal Mission for Rejuvenation and Urban Transformation. As we have seen, the previous decade saw the launch and implementation of one of its kind big flagship scheme, JNNURM, for urban rejuvenation. The mission strove hard to reform and bring about complete transformation in the urban spheres by slew of reform measures and new initiatives in improvement of urban basic services to all. Despite its impediments and limitations, it produced wonderful results and transformed the mindsets of the states and urban local bodies, continuing in the same spirit of bringing about rapid and positive transformation in the urban space and prioritizing the objectives based on the experiences and the learnings of the previous mission. The government has launched the program for urban renewal named after Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee in June 2015. The mission has been titled as Atal Mission for Rejuvenation and Urban Transformation, that is AMRUT. The mission proclaims it would focus on infrastructure creation that has a direct link to provision of better services to people. The government would ensure creation of a sound institutional structure to make mission successful. The major objectives of the mission have been outlined below. Now the objectives of the mission. Every household to have access to tap with assured water supply. All the houses to have sewerage connection. Developing greenery and well-maintained open spaces, that is parks, to enhance the aesthetic value of the city. reduction of pollution by shifting to public transport system or constructing facilities for non-motorized transport, that is walking and cycling. Now coverage of the scheme. The scheme covers 500 cities. The list of cities will be notified later. Following are the category of cities that will be covered in the Amrut scheme. All cities and towns with population of more than 1 lakh with notified municipalities, cantonment boards, all capital cities, towns and UTs that are not included in the above mentioned category. All cities and towns classified as heritage cities by Ministry of Urban Development under the Hriday scheme. It also includes 13 cities and towns with a population between 75,000 to 1 lakh that are on the stem of the main rivers. 10 cities from hill states, islands and tourist destinations. Now, the mission components. The component of the mission along with the detailed description of the proposed task have been given below. Water supply. This component includes augmentation of existing water supply, water treatment plants and universal installation of meters, rehabilitation of old water supply systems and rejuvenation of water bodies for drinking water supply and recharging of groundwater, making arrangement for supplying water to hill areas and coastal cities and those places having water quality problems, example arsenic or fluoride. Now sewerage. It focuses on decentralization and proper development of networked underground sewerage system, augmentation of existing sewerage systems and treatment of plants, rehabilitation of old sewerage system and treatment plants, recycling and reuse of water, septage, facial sludge management, cleaning and treatment in a cost-effective manner, biological and mechanical cleaning of sewers and septic tanks, stormwater drainage. This component has become more relevant nowadays as city comes to a virtual standstill after heavy rains. Therefore, construction and improvement of drains and stormwater drains has become indispensable to check and eliminate flooding. Urban transport, traffic management, pollution control and developing mass rapid transit system has become a necessary requirement of the cities and emerged as a challenge for the government. Therefore, the mission emphasizes on introduction of ferry vessels for island waterways, construction of footpaths, sidewalk, foot-over bridges, multi-level parking and facilities for promoting non-motorized vehicles such as bicycles. Encouraging and promoting bus rapid transit system BRTS, green space and parks. The mission focuses on enhancing and developing green spaces and parks with the aim to beautify the city. Now, reform management and support. This is an important component of the mission which supports funding for reform implementation and other activities, independent reform monitoring agencies, capacity building. Focus is on individual and institutional capacity building which will not just be confined to mission cities but would also be extended to other ULBs. Continuation of the comprehensive capacity building programs after its realignment towards the new missions. Now, allocation of funds. The total budget for Amrut is rupees 50,000 crore for 5 years beginning from 2015. The mission is a centrally sponsored scheme. The formula for allocation of project fund to states will give equal weightage, that is 50-50, to the urban population of the state, union territories and the number of statutory towns in the state. The mission fund consists of 4 parts as given below. Project fund. 80% of the annual budgetary allocation. Project fund in the first year would be 90% of the annual budgetary allocation. Incentive for reforms would constitute 10% of the annual budgetary allocation. State fund for administrative and office expenses would claim 8% of the annual budgetary allocation. Ministry of Urban Development funds for administrative and office expenses would constitute 2% of the annual budgetary allocation. Now let's see the implementation strategy for this program. Preparation of service level plan SLIP. This is an exhaustive exercise as the preparation of SLIP has to focus on universal coverage of all households with water supply and sewerage, look into alternatives to bridge the gaps, ways to implement reform and strategy to manage the finance. Each ULB is therefore required to go through a series of necessary steps keeping in mind the conditions attached and prepare the service level improvement plan. State Annual Action Plan. The slips prepared by the ULBs would form the building block for the SAAP. Slips would be aggregated to form SAAP. SAAP is nothing but a state level service improvement plan that indicates the year-wise progress improvement in water supply and sewerage connection to households. Now, approval of SAP. The Apex Committee is given the task of appraisal and approval of the SAP. After the approval of SAP, project execution begins. Now, project execution. DPRs are prepared for identified projects approved by the state level committees after technical appraisal by the state level technical committee. Process of implementation finally begins after thorough technical and financial appraisal of the DPRs. Release of funds. The funds will be released in 3 installments of 20, 40 and 40%. The first installment of 20% will be released soon after the approval of the SAP by the Apex Committee. The second and third installment will only be released on receipt of scorecard, utilization certificates and project funds request. It is experienced and learned from the past programs that timely release of project funds by the state government is a key to successful completion of any project. Therefore, the states are required to release the central assistance funds to the ULBs within 7 working days of release of central share by the Ministry of Urban Development, failing which a specific interest rate shall be levied on the state. Following flowchart summarizes the process of plan implementation. Now, program management structure. It has 3-tier management structure at national, state and city level. At national level, the program at national level will be managed by an Apex Committee that will be chaired by the Secretary, Ministry of Urban Development. Members, representatives of related ministries and organization will supervise the mission. The Apex Committee is required to meet at least once in 3 months. Management of mission at the state level will be done by a state level high powered steering committee chaired by the state chief secretary. At the city level, ULB will be responsible for implementation of the mission at the city level, and the municipal commissioner will ensure preparation of slip. Now let's conclude. To ensure that the mission runs smoothly and efficiently, it is required that it should be monitored periodically by the managing bodies and also by external agencies. Therefore, there will be a quarterly external monitoring by the Independent Review and Monitoring Agency. At the state level, the SHPSC would carry out a detailed scrutiny of the proposed projects and monitor it during the execution, while the ULBs would closely monitor the projects through their elected representatives and ULB bodies at the ULB level. The mission is a promising and bold step towards the aim of urban renewal, but there is a long distance to cover, and only unflinching commitment towards the goal would produce concrete positive results. Honest and effective participation of every stakeholder is required to make it a grand success. Thank you.